Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline live in the BPTV studios. If you hear any talking, we're supposed to be silent when the other person talks, but this is live TV and it doesn't always work out that way.
Sometimes I get carried away.
Thanks for watching Pittsburgh Sportsline only on Comcast 7 in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and the surrounding area from Nemacolin to Cranberry Wexford. We appreciate it. Got to announce on Facebook, we hit a brand new high, never been this high before ever, 6,555 likes. Thanks for watching and liking all our shows. We appreciate it. 6 years of doing this, and thanks to Dave Cable, Bethel Park, and the community for having a studio for us. Devin Shea, Ethan, and I think, what's that kid's name, Smoking Jim?
Rookie of the Year!
Oh, that's right. Steve Fisher. Thanks for all your help. We'll try to do the right thing with the sound. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Chip Hayner's right next to me, and Smoking Jim's here. We got the full cast of characters here today, so got a great show for you. Might talk a little bit of sports. Last week we wandered a little bit with Smoking Jim and I with some different subjects. I didn't hear any feedback, so I guess you liked it. Skip Atkins loves our show, our man. He said, guys sound great, even without guests. So he enjoyed the talk and how we meandered all over the place there, buddy. It's tough getting into that cranium of yours and what's in there. I don't know if we want to repeat some of that, but we'll do our best. Hey, I got some sponsors to bring up. First of all, thanks to Olive Oil's Pizzeria. That XL pizza and hoagie were delicious. If you listen real quiet, you can hear Smoking Jim chewing. We end each show with Stay Joey Strong. This is Joey Fabus. Before DIPG and after DIPG, the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Go there, donate some money. All the money goes to find a cure for DIPG, the brain cancer that kills you within a year. These kids that are diagnosed with it, they have less than a year to live, and it's just terrible. So good luck with that. The Historical Society of Bethel Park has the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. It's right near the trolley on South Park Road. Check it out. Another 501c3. Great place. They had a small business thing a week or so ago, so a lot of people went to that. Heard it was a pretty nice event. Take care and check out the Bethel Park Historical Society. Now, if you need money for your group or organization in Bethel Park, I always tease Smoking Jim and Chip Hayner. Get that group together. You can get from $100 to $5,000. It's not happening with these guys.
He keeps squandering it betting against the Steelers.
Well, like I tell people, if you don't bet, don't start. And if you do bet, don't listen to Smoking Jim. Do what I do, is bet the opposite. And good luck with that. But the Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you from $100 to $5,000. Go to www.bpcf.org, get an application, and you can apply and help your group do better things in Bethel. Dave Cable likes to have fun at my expense. He put my face with Uncle Sam. Uncle Al wants you for BPTV. Call 412-831-3304. Talk to Dave. See if you can come in here and help out with cameras, soundboard, any studio work on location, and even in here in the studio. So check it out. I want you for BPTV, 412-831-3304. Next, the opening segment of our show is sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. 7 miles away from here, right past Trax Farm, Mineral Beach, Skeets Service Station, 724-348-4715, right on Route 88. You can't miss them. They're red, white, and blue. Check that out. And he sponsors What's on Your Mind. And I got to try to ask Smoking Jim Frazier if he's done eating. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
It's coming at you, high arc.
you got to see Levine. Hey,
Nice catch, Smoking.
thanks. And I want to wish my good friend here, Chip Hayner, happy anniversary on air. Congratulations.
Thank you,
brother.
Jim. Appreciate it.
I second that emotion.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it.
You hit the jackpot there, but
Yes, sir.
and to answer Chip's question about winning state championships, before they had a state championship tournament, they would vote a team who would be a state champ, and Gateway was voted state champ 5 times. So this will be Friday. Will be the first time that they've entered the PIAA tournament.
Oh,
To
you mean
win
the
the state
first time they
championship.
actually earned it.
Chipper, you got
They
him.
never played for a national championship either, and they were ranked number 3 in the nation one year. And you can see that down at the John Hines History Center. But what's on my mind?
Were you on that roster?
What's on my mind is
Find out.
WPIL championships. Got to give a shout out to. Well, first of all, here's an article I did in the newspaper. Ooh, it's in black and white. Too.
What newspaper?
The Pittsburgh Courier on the Amani Jeanette game, and Jeanette won that game 35-34. Question I have for you guys is, if you score a touchdown and decide to go for 2 and don't get it, are you still considered co-champs, or do you
Say that
lose?
again.
If you score a touchdown,
Okay.
And you're down by how many points now?
now you're down by 1.
Okay.
So you can kick the extra point and go in overtime,
Okay.
or you can go for 2 and go for the win.
Okay.
But you got the same amount of touchdowns as the other team, and you decide to go for 2 and don't get it. Do you consider yourself co-champs or
Not at all.
No, you're not.
You lost.
Because you went for it all. It was either win or go home.
Okay. Well,
Hey, Emperor, you talk about players are pieces of meat. How do they keep scoring these games?
Well,
Whoever has the highest score wins.
It's not by how many points you win.
well, in my book, I guess close to co-champs, Amani
Emperor.
Christian Academy.
Emperor.
I
But,
mean, Amani Christian had an amazing season, and you know, tip your hat to them.
You
They
turned
just
on
came
them
up that
mid-season.
much. They came up that much short.
Well, at least
Because
they
you turned on them
at least they
mid-season.
lost in my
You
former.
turned on them mid-season.
Well, my former college teammate there, Roy Hall, one of the Hall twins from Jeanette. Congratulations to Roy winning his first WPIL championship.
Hey, by the way,
And
that was a good article.
oh, thank you, sir.
I read it.
I
I'm
like-
like you.
I like the article better on the team because I like the team better. It's my second favorite team in the country is Quaker Valley. I love those.
You
kids.
threw them under the bus last
They're
week.
gonna
No,
win.
Quaker Valley. I love those white kids.
They're
From
gonna win 2-0
Sewickley.
again.
Huh?
They're gonna win 2-0 again.
Yeah.
From Sewickley. You mean the
hey,
Sewickley kids you're supporting now.
Defense wins championships. Just ask Baltimore Ravens next week. The Steelers are going to find out the hard way.
And against the Steelers again.
I'm betting on the Ravens. Yeah.
Ray
Pittsburgh's-
Lewis isn't playing.
You're
Pittsburgh's all beat up.
going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to bet enough money to break even.
He's there.
But anyhow,
He's there.
real quick, I don't want to take up too much time, but
Oh, we got some time.
I feel like I got to give Brady Walker a little credit
What school's he from?
for Gateway because he doesn't get any. This is a kid out of Pine Ridge named Phil Jerkovich, I believe, who's a great quarterback going to Notre Dame. But career-wise, thanks, buddy. Career-wise, Brady Walker has more passing yards for the people out there than Phil.
And what school's he going to go to?
He's not being recruited, Pitt, by anybody right now, and he's a senior. But Brady Walker is the second all-time leading passer in WPIL history.
And what's that
And
getting?
Jerkovich will probably end up being third. He's fourth right now. But anywho, Gateway's in the championship. Congratulations to Jeanette Jayhawks, who's in a championship, and also their feeder team just won a national championship in Canton, Ohio. Their youth kids, so things are looking up as well in Jeanette. How about Quaker Valley is going for a state championship, and Washington High School got beat, so they're out of it. And Pine Ridgeland will probably get beat by St. Joe's in the championship. And everybody, I think, in the state of Pennsylvania would have loved to have seen a Gateway versus Pine Ridgeland game.
I don't think so. I'm not really enthused with that.
But Gateway, the uncrowned champ of all divisions this year, and that's what's on my mind.
Okay.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. I'm glad we finally got down to it. Chip Hayner.
Who's the brothers from the hood? They from the hood right there.
Forget about it. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Well, thank you, Alan, and good evening, everybody. What I would like to bring everybody up to speed on before I get to what's on my mind is maybe some facts about the high school playoff
Facts.
that's coming up this week. And I do want to give some props to the Gateway pass catching combination, who has moved up at a record pace. Brady Walker, 6'1", 170 pounds, is a senior quarterback for Gateway, and which is Courtney Jackson.
Black.
They're major players, okay? A junior receiver, have been sensational together this year. They helped Gateway reach the PIAA Class 5A championship. In a semifinal victory against Manheim Central, Brady Walker threw for 465 yards.
Really?
The second most in a PIAA playoff game. Well, you would know this. You're a Gateway fan, right? You're following the games.
It was sitting there, Chip.
Brandon Nosovich
Eating popcorn.
of Allentown Central Catholic threw for 496 in 2010. So that's the second most
We'll get
in
him this
PIAA playoff history. Jackson caught 14 passes to tie a PIAA playoff record. Pine Richland's Mike Marhault caught 14 in 2014. So after the game, Gateway coach said, when we told Courtney the statistics, he said, "Those are crazy numbers." He had no idea that they were on pace to
Here's
set
the
the
question
record.
I have. Why didn't they throw one more pass to him and break the record?
That's it.
Okay, well, in the Manheim Central game, Walker set a state record for single-season passing yardage, breaking the mark of Pine Richland's Ben DiNucci, who can't seem to find a starting position for the Pitt Panthers.
Right.
Walker now has thrown for 4,396 yards
One season? Wow.
in this season. Not in one season, in this season, which is not yet over. Okay? Jackson now has 94 catches for 1,903 yards.
Wow.
Only 3 players in the history of the Whippeal are known to catch 100 passes or more in a season. The Whippeal record and also the state record is 116 by Seton LaSalle's Carmen Connolly. The best pass catch combinations in the Whippeal and PIAA history are DiNucci and Marhault for Pine Richland 3 years ago, and Connolly and Bill Stoll for Seton LaSalle
Another Pitt
in 2004. They couldn't start for Pitt.
And a little tip, the Conley family is the Del Sardo family, and they're related to the Gradkowski family.
Okay. So I just thought I'd bring you up to speed on some of the things that Jim has forgotten to mention, other than the fact that Gateway would not stand a chance against Pine Richland. But that's just my humble opinion. But to speak to his other favorite team, Quaker Valley will play for the PIAA championship for the first time in school history. But one person associated with the team has state championship experience in Hershey, but as a basketball player, not a football player. Maybe you may have heard of Tom Pipkins.
Yeah.
He's only the all-time leading scorer in WPIAL boys basketball with 2,838 points for Valley High.
Yeah.
Pipkins is now an assistant coach with the Quaker Valley football team.
I didn't know that.
See that?
What, they bust the brother in?
You know?
I'm getting this
I know, but see,
How did I miss that?
Jim provides the fluff, I preside the facts. Okay?
man.
So I thought that.
He didn't even play no football, Valley.
There you go. I told you he has experience in Hershey.
Oh,
but not on the football
lied his
field.
way
I
on the
don't know what
resume.
he did, but you know what?
I want to see that resume.
If you would have known about that, I am absolutely certain that you would have brought something like that up. And all systems are go for Pine Richland's all-world quarterback, Phil Jurkovec. He was tested last Friday for mononucleosis as well as Lyme disease because he wasn't feeling well last
Who was
week.
he kissing?
But both tests came up negative, and he's been cleared to play in the championship game this
Some
weekend.
deer watching.
So I'm absolutely certain that the Pine Richland Rams will end up the season 16-0 and with another state championship to put on their mantle.
Nobody can beat St. Joe's. Only team that have a shot at them is Gateway. St. Joe's is loaded.
But
they are loaded.
That gets me to what is on my mind. And once again, I find more reasons every weekend to become more disillusioned with the NFL than I already have been. And my viewership has been waning, just like the television ratings for the NFL have been waning.
Hold it, prove it to Smoking Jim.
I will give you a couple of examples why I am getting so tired of the NFL, okay? So here we've got a game on Sunday, the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots, and they're playing in Buffalo. And the Bills, as they usually do, were laying an egg. And you get down to about 4 minutes left in the game, and a pass is thrown by Tom Brady in the direction of Gronkowski. Now, there is some jockeying for position between he and the defensive back. The defensive back happened to intercept the ball, fell forward. A Patriot came over, put his hand on the middle of his back, touched him down. The guy is on his stomach, face down to the ground, not making an attempt to get up. And here comes Rob Gronkowski, and he throws a forearm shiver to the back of his head, bounces his head off the turf, causes him to immediately go into concussion protocol after the whistle had blown. Okay, so this is something that, okay, this is going to be a fine for sure, should be a suspension. I'm thinking 3, maybe 4 games, and then they maybe take it down to 2 or something like that. What does he get? 1 game suspension. It was a deliberate attempt to injure another player, and yet the Players Association went and filed an appeal for him. Now, where is the Players Association for the guy that got his head bounced off the turf? Why is the Players Association accepting that kind of behavior? Why isn't the Players Association punishing the egregious offender? Okay, fast forward to last night. My thoughts and prayers go out to Ryan Shazier and his family. I hope he recovers completely. I don't even care if he plays football again. I hope he can walk again. That's how serious that injury looked. I wish him a speedy recovery, and if by the grace of God he's able to play football again, great. But I just hope that he can lead a normal life.
He'll play.
So now you've got Juju Smith-Schuster, okay? In the course of a play, while the ball is live on the field, Vontaze Burfict is going in to make a tackle, and Juju Smith-Schuster blocks him. Violently, I will say, hit him with his shoulder, hit him in his chest, did not headhunt, and knocked him flat, knocked him out of the game. Then he made the foolish mistake of straddling Vontaze Burfict, standing over him and taunting him, which, of course, should have been a 15-yard penalty. The hit, if they're going to call that a crackback blocks are illegal. Maybe a 15-yard penalty. If you want to throw him a fine, great. But he gets the same suspension as Rob Gronkowski. And Rob Gronkowski deliberately tried to hurt somebody after the play was dead. And you're going to tell me that Smith-Schuster gets the same suspension as somebody that's an egregious defender? I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. There's no consistency with what they're doing. And then, of course, there was another hit later in the game that warranted a suspension as well. A helmet-to-helmet hit. Now, there may have been, in the last 2 seasons, 100 helmet-to-helmet hits or so flagged. How many of them were suspended? None? Okay, so why all of a sudden are these hits players being suspended when, you've got somebody that deliberately tried to hurt somebody, and if you watch that, there was specific intent to hurt somebody. He should have been thrown out of the game right there, should have been suspended more than 1 game. But I'm sick of watching that kind of BS on in the NFL, and they need to get it right. That's what's on my mind this week, so take it away, Alan.
Thank you, Chip. what's on my mind is the Steelers playing down to the level of their competition. I'm at home watching the game, 17-0. Go to my son. Smoking Jim's got to be betting that house on Cincinnati. He's counting his money right now. Oh, before the halftime, the Steelers score 3. I said, we got this game.
Wow.
That's all we needed.
That's all we needed, because all of a sudden, all the passes Big Ben couldn't complete and throw to people. Now he's telling them, go here, throw there. They weren't on the same page. He was talking to Brown, and meanwhile he threw a bunch of passes to him. He called him over one time because the third down play, they weren't on the same page. Brown didn't even look around for the ball, and the ball was flying. But he did complete a few passes. For some reason, he can complete those long balls every so often, and we did get enough to win. And my son kept saying, you think we're going to win this? I said, yeah, wait till this last drive. I said, they left them plenty of time.
Wow.
And that's all Ben needed was the time to get there. Boswell did the job again as time ran out, kicked the field goal to win the game. Before that, we were 7-15 with losing records with teams over the last 5 years. So we got our 8th win out of like 23 games. So we played down to that level of competition. It was a shame with Shazier. It sort of took something out of the oomph of the play, and the defense needed him very badly because Medikevich come in. He got hurt. They had, I don't even know how they were relaying the plays in because you only got so many of those helmets with the microphone in it. So who knows what happened. I didn't even know we had a guy named Fort on the team that was coming in playing. But the Steelers ended up winning the game, and off to 10-2, can't beat that. Still talking about New England, although we have the Ravens coming up next week. Smoking Jim already bet the house on the Ravens, so we won't worry about that. We'll chalk that one up for another Steeler win.
You got your Ravens shirt on.
I know. I wore it today because of you. I'm all Steelers.
So, speaking of the Ravens, if you don't mind me interrupting.
No, go ahead.
So, a player from the Ravens got hurt yesterday in Achilles
Jimmy
injury.
Smith.
Jimmy Smith. And, okay, so he's going to be out for the game because he's got an injury, but he's also been busted for PED use, okay? So he's got a 4-game suspension, which he can serve while he's on the injured reserve list.
Wow.
Isn't that a bunch of BS? I mean, if you violate the rules, okay, here's what. You're on injured reserve, okay, you're on injured. As soon as you come off injured reserve, your suspension starts, as the way it should be. Just like I said, no consistency.
I want to see that CBA. Bring that CBA out because they gave Goodell dictatorship, and he just can't decide. How's he doing this for the owners? Only one owner's been coming out against him, Jerry Jones. 31 other owners are in his pocket there, obviously. So we'll see what happens with
one
this.
One other question before we get to our next segment is Antonio Brown in consideration for league MVP?
Good question.
Good question.
Something to think about, folks.
On that note, we'll come back with Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
One of the things we do at BPTV is encourage our producers to film on location. Not only does shooting on location give our producers the opportunity to take advantage of their subject matter, filming in different locations gives each program its own distinct flavor. This also helps anyone who's flipping through the channels avoid confusion when they turn on BPTV. With around 500 programs produced at BPTV each year, the last thing we want people to think is that we're only broadcasting one program. So, you need to come into BPTV to pitch your TV show, but in terms of where you actually end up taping your show, the sky's the limit.
Hi, Bethel Park. Uncle Al speaking.
I'm asking you to come help us behind the scenes at BP TV. We're looking for some proud Bethel Park residents to help us make the shows that you want to watch. For more information, contact Station Director Dave Cable, and we will see you behind the cameras at BP TV.
Just the facts.
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip. And I know you don't watch football anymore, Chip, because football's not for the faint of heart. And Al Levine, the Talking Machine, the Pittsburgh Steelers really, I'm giving them a C grade for Cardiac Kids. They're the new Cardiac Kids. But my fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac reminds me a lot this year of 1994. 1994 was one of the Pittsburgh Steelers' greatest teams of all time. As a season ticket holder, if your home team makes the Super Bowl, you get allotted allotment of Super Bowl tickets. So I've already had 2 tickets for Miami. If the Steelers would win the game and go to the Super Bowl, I was taking a beautiful blonde that worked at Mellon Bank at the time. Just friends, we're friends, but boy, she had a good shape for the beach. And so...
Thanks for those details.
Yeah, so the Pittsburgh Steelers, but if you looked at it, that team that year had a lot of warts, just like this team does. And it was overlooked, but that team's biggest problem was their head was big. You know, you had Eric Green and Yancey Thigpen and those guys hanging out later than me at night.
Oh, yeah.
You had the Super Bowl video they made.
Yeah.
Overlooking teams like, you know, their coach this year talking about the New England Patriots instead of things at hand. And when the Pittsburgh Steelers went into play in the championship game against San Diego Chargers, a team they should have beat the brakes off.
Stan Humphries.
Stan Humphries is a quarterback. Who would even remember him?
Who?
And
this guy.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers totally dominated that game in the first half, but all those warts came to the flourishing when is that a word? And
no, what
came
you
to the top.
Fruition, yes.
Fruition, yeah, there you go.
I don't know. They'd have to come to the skin so you could see it.
Yeah,
the warts would have to show up.
Yeah, the warts started to show up in the second half with me only hours away from flying to Miami. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the game was taken over by NFL hero Junior Seau, who took his life but preserved his brain for the study of CTE. And but he was a man possessed in the second half.
Yes, he was.
Barry Foster and Eric Green and those guys really didn't show up in the second half. Neil O'Donnell didn't play one of his better halves. And the Pittsburgh Steelers probably won one of the biggest upsets in AFC Championship history.
Yes.
Went down in flames to San Diego Chargers. So that's my fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Give a shout out to the Cardiac Kids, but also this is a team
Wouldn't
I've
it be
been saying.
CC?
May I make one comment?
Let me just finish this last thing. That I've been saying all season long that this particular Pittsburgh Steelers team, although they're 10-2, there's a lot of warts on that team.
Yeah,
but go ahead, Chip.
They are. 1994, the Steelers lost to the 49ers in the AFC Championship game here at Three River Stadium, and then they promptly got the snot beat out of them by the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
Who were 15-1 in the regular season that year. The only team that beat them was the Steelers. Went out to the West Coast and beat them. And if the Steelers would have beaten the Chargers, I think they were the only team that
could beat
would have
San-
had a
I
chance
agree.
to beat Steve Young's San Francisco 49ers
They matched
that
up
week.
well with them.
They did
really
because
did.
they beat them on their home turf and beat them fair and square, and that was the only loss that So that was one year when 18-1 actually meant something because the 49ers went 18-1 and won the championship, opposed to the Patriots who went 18-1 and won nothing.
Yeah.
And Prime Time was also on that team. You gotta get to. You like to get autographs. Get Prime Time's autograph next time you get to.
I'll pass.
Thanks, Smoking Jim Frazier, for your fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Oh, thank you and good evening, everybody. Before I get started with my trivia, I just want to, make a quick mention because my trivia this week has to do with what's going to be coming up this weekend in college football. The Heisman Trophy will be selected. The Heisman Trophy will be selected.
I got to vote.
So, now we have come down to the final four teams. Who's in the playoff to win it all? And we've got the Clemson Tigers, who maintained their number one standing.
Yeah.
We've got Oklahoma in at number 2. We have Oklahoma. We have Clemson. We have Oklahoma. We have Georgia, who beat Auburn, who beat Alabama.
I won money on that.
Yeah, and Alabama made the Final Four.
Where's Penn State? They
Penn-
should be in.
Penn
They
State.
should be in.
They couldn't even win the Big Ten, and it doesn't matter because even if you win your
don't
win
get
your conference, doesn't mean you get in. Look at the Ohio State Buckeyes. Wah, wah. You came up short. Sorry about that, guys. Here's the reason why Ohio
You
State
think Central
didn't make
Florida
it.
should be in?
Here's the reason why Ohio State didn't make it. They lost 31-0 to an Iowa team that was not ranked. That doesn't get you in the championship tournament. Central Florida, if you look at strength of schedule, I used to always be a big proponent because you think of the year when BYU was the only undefeated team in college
Won a
football
national championship.
and won a national championship, but who did they beat? They really
Nobody.
didn't beat anybody.
They
okay?
beat a 6-4 Michigan team.
Okay, so there you go. That won them a championship. But, Central Florida, hey, they won all their games. And all you can do is, you can win all your games, but that's not what they judged the polls on. The strength of schedule
We're
plays
sort of
into
like
it.
Smoking Jim with his top 10 list.
So,
That's how I would analyze that.
okay. So what I am going to do, and I'm going to do this as quickly and as efficiently as I can, some facts about the Heisman Trophy. And then we'll go over who the 3 finalists for the Heisman Trophy Award are this year.
I sent my vote in
And
already.
and then we're also going to talk about somebody who's conspicuous by their absence.
Shocking.
And not so much. But,
I'm shocked.
the Heisman Memorial Trophy is named in honor of a longtime college football coach, John W. Heisman, who was also athletic director of the New York Downtown Athletic Club. The model for the trophy was Ed Smith, a player for New York University in 1934. Old Ed. Yeah, he stood there.
posed.
How many hours did he stand there while they did that?
That was Des Bryant.
No. The school with the most wins is Notre Dame. Ohio State with 7 wins, but one player won the award twice. Archie Griffin,
yeah.
the only player to win it twice.
Tebow.
There are 929 ballots, and sectional representatives choose 145 voters, usually sports journalists in 6 regions across the country, for 870 ballots. Each former Heisman winner can vote, which there were 58, and there's one popular vote sponsored by Nissan every year. The first award, originally called the DAC Award for the Downtown Athletic Club, goes to running back Jay Berwanger, a senior at the University of Chicago. The award is renamed in 1936 in honor of John Heisman. 1961, halfback for the Syracuse Orangemen, the first African American to win the award, Ernie Davis.
You can say black.
Well, it said African American here. I'm just reading from the paper, Jim.
Smoking.
1968, the running
Had to
back
bring the race car.
is convicted felon O.J. Simpson from the University of Southern California. Notice how I didn't say murderer, but he was a convicted felon. Archie Griffin in 1975 becomes the only person to win the award twice. The running back for Ohio State wins in 1974 and 1975. Charles Woodson, cornerback for the University of Michigan, is the first defensive player to win.
Peyton Manning won.
In 2007, University of Florida sophomore Tim Tebow was the first underclassman to win the award. Usually goes to juniors or seniors. September 13th, 2010, the 2005 winner, Reggie Bush, forfeits his award after an investigation shows that he broke NCAA rules by accepting gifts and perks from would-be agents and Kim Kardashian. Okay. On December the 8th, 2012, Texas A&M freshman quarterback Johnny Manziel is named the 2012 Heisman winner and the first freshman to ever win the trophy and have no NFL career. But as far as drunks and drug addicts go, he's a Hall of Famer.
Hey, his
December
dad admitted he
13th.
trained on Skittles and beer.
Well, you know what? That weren't Skittles. Those weren't Skittles. December 13th, 2014, University of Oregon quarterback Marcus Mariota was named the 2014 winner. He is the first player from the University of Oregon and the first native Hawaiian to win the Heisman Trophy.
What is that? What's a native Hawaiian? What is
Well, they would be somebody that was born and
American
raised in
ancestors.
Hawaii.
Oh, a native Hawaiian.
Yeah,
Okay,
not
I
like
got
Hawaiian Punch.
it. Okay.
Okay.
Never heard that term.
Didn't they teach you anything at Cal U?
I think it was American.
Okay, so well, now we're going to go over some facts about the Heisman Trophy. And I did talk about the number of winners that there are. Just a quick rundown. The top Heisman Trophy producing schools, Notre Dame and Ohio State, each with 7. USC with 6. Oklahoma coming in third with 5.
They're good to see.
Followed by Nebraska, Army, Michigan, Florida, Auburn, Florida State, each with 3.
Don't Oklahoma got 6?
That would be 5. See right
Well,
here?
this
That
year
makes 5.
Baker Mayfield makes
Well,
6.
the award hasn't been
Okay.
awarded yet.
Okay.
Alabama, Georgia, Miami, Texas, Texas A&M, Wisconsin, Yale, and Navy each have 2 wins.
How many pick up? Just the one? Dorsey?
Just the one, Tony Dorsett, 1976. Okay, Heisman Trophy winners in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There's a
I
long
wanna
list
hear
of
that.
Heisman Trophy winners, but there's not a long list of Heisman Trophy winners that have made the NFL Hall of Fame.
OJ?
Number 1, Doak Walker from SMU in 1948.
You got to be.
Paul Hornung, Notre Dame in 1956.
Gotta be in there.
Heisman year, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Roger Staubach
Before you
for Naval
Before
Academy.
you jump over Paul Hornung, he beat number 2 Jim Brown and number 3 Johnny Majors that
Wow.
year. 1, 2, 3, 3 good
And he
ones.
was
there.
a known gambler.
There you go. Roger Staubach at the Naval Academy in 1963. O.J. Simpson, nonetheless, from USC in 1968. Tony Dorsett, not Dorsett, Tony Dorsett. That's who he was when he played here for the University of Pittsburgh in 1976. Earl
It's
Campbell,
a slave name.
the Tyler Rose for the University of Texas in 1977. Marcus Allen from USC in 1981.
That's right.
Probably one of the best running backs I've ever seen in my life, Barry Sanders from Oklahoma State, 1988. And Tim Brown from Notre Dame in 1987. Those are your Heisman Trophy winning NFL Hall of Famers.
There's so few.
Can we
So-
predict the next one? Who'd be the next one to go in, you think?
Well, we're going to talk
Heisman
about
Trophy.
that. Let
Okay,
me get to it,
okay.
okay?
We think alike.
You're putting the cart before the horse, my friend.
alike.
Heisman Trophy winners that became NFL Rookie of the Year.
I like
That's
that.
even a shorter list.
Yeah, gotta be.
Tony Dorsett, 1977. Earl Campbell, 1978.
Long list.
George Rogers for the New Orleans Saints in 1981.
That's right.
Marcus Allen, 1982. Barry Sanders in 1989. And Eddie George in 1996.
Put that in there. put that in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, I already got these. Is that the Hall of Famers in the Pro Football? So now we're going to get down to the 3 finalists this year. And the 3 finalists this year would be Baker Mayfield of the Oklahoma Sooners, Lamar Jackson, who is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner from last year for Louisville, and Bryce Love from Stanford, running back from Stanford. Now, absent from this list happens to be Senquez Barkley.
That's who I voted for.
The Penn State running back, but the only problem Senquez Barkley had in his candidacy for the Heisman Trophy winner is you don't win the Heisman Trophy in the first 4 games of the year. You know, here's what happens. If your team's really good and you make it to your conference championship, you play 13 games. Okay? Baker Mayfield has put his team in a position to vie for the national championship. The Oklahoma Sooners are 12-1 and ranked number 2. And Baker Mayfield has been doing nothing but lighting up the skies for the last 7 or 8 weeks. As Baker Mayfield started taking off, Senquez Barkley started going down, and in the last 8 games of the year, he failed to crack the 100-yard rushing number in I believe, in most of those games. So subsequently, he fell off the radar. Other people picked up the slack, and unfortunately, Barkley probably will play his last game for the Penn State Nittany Lions in a few weeks here, and I do expect him to go to the pros.
Oh.
He would be foolish not to go to the pros and play another year in college, and potentially, lose out on the money that he would get.
I would
as an
play.
NFL.
I would play one more year if I was working.
Yeah, and then
No
and then he
way.
blows out his knee and he never plays again, and then
He's not.
what does he have? I mean, college football players don't get paid that well.
That we know of.
But that's Trips Trivia for this week. We'll look forward to the Heisman Trophy announcement this Saturday night. They usually have like a 4-hour program that's painfully slow, and then in the last 5 seconds they announce the winner.
Boomer Sooner.
Yeah, but I look for Baker Mayfield to walk away with the hard there this year. Lamar Jackson just didn't have anywhere near the kind of year he had last year, and I just don't know if Bryce Love put enough on tape to warrant his election as
Good
this
point.
year's candidate. So
I didn't vote for Baker because there's a clause in there for character, and I don't think he lived up to the character part of it.
well, we'll see. We'll see, because pretty much at this point, I'm sure
gonna win.
the decision's already made.
Yeah, he won.
Everybody's filled out their ballots and everything, and now it's probably a closely guarded state secret.
Thank you, Chip Hayner. On location, December 11th, we'll be at Olive Oil's Pizzeria and More, 930 Brookline Boulevard from 7:30 to 8:30. I got a local guy that just opened up a fitness center, John Dennis, coming to the show, and his assistant Jeff will be there. I got contacted by our man Lou, owner of the Pittsburgh Buccaneers.
Wow.
Some of the team members are supposed to come to our show. So make sure you're there. $5 pizza, $5 hoagies, and great sports talk. Smoking Jim will be giving hand signals like you can't believe to these players. You have to come out to see that with the brother handshakes, if that's what he calls it. So you have to see that. So we'll see what happens. Lou didn't get back to me with a count. I asked how many. He's working on it. So we'll see how many of the football players. They won a championship this year.
Yeah.
So it'll
What
be
sport?
exciting. Semi-pro football team.
Very good.
So we've had champions on before. So can't wait for this show. It should be an exciting show. And we start up about 7:30 to 8:30. Rookie of the Year said he'll be there running cameras. So
All right.
figured I'd pump up Smoking Jim Frazier. We have an event for awards on Friday night, so we'll see what Steve Fisher gets there, and Devin Shea usually gets an award or two. Smoking Jim said he's going to make a grand appearance. For
I'll
the first
meet you
time,
there.
which that won't happen. We can just say that his GPS will not find the Bethel Park Community Center Friday night at 6 o'clock, but that's just where it's at. Thanks for watching our show, and continue to be fans of our show, so we appreciate it. But see you on location. Come on out. There's plenty of seating there, and we film a nice show out there.
I think film and television in general is a very discouraging industry. It takes a lot of years of pounding the pavement, calling people, finding your ins. You're gonna carry a lot of heavy cable, get dirty a lot, and find your way in. With the limited amount of resources out there and the limited amount of opportunities, there's a fantastic resource right here. And it's public access, it's free of charge. Anybody can come in and gain that experience. Dave absolutely loves to help people, you know, never said no to us growing up. Anything we wanted to do, we were able to do here. The first year I was here, I would just sign on for different projects, like Stump the Students was a show that I worked on quite frequently. It was a game show. We would just come up with our own little ideas, mostly sketches, a lot of school projects, a lot of classes when we'd have to do a project on a story we read or something like that. I would always ask if we could do a video as our project instead, and we would typically do it through Dave. You know, one of my favorite things we did was one of the simplest things we did. It was put together in an afternoon. It was something we wanted to do for fun. We were playing around learning Final Cut Pro, learning how to do linear editing, and we decided to do something in reverse. So we filmed me, actually I think it was, running around the building out here, jumping off walls backwards, running around backwards, and played the whole thing in reverse. It was really simple, it was, you know, corny, we just did it for fun, but for a couple weeks after that, people kept coming up to me at school like, well, how'd you do that? We were more exposed to our student body than we felt we were, not having an association with any extracurriculars of the school. It was fun to see how, even though we were doing it on our own, it was still making its reach to Bethel Park, and it was still something that we were getting feedback for, positive feedback from. And that was really nice. I would say that BPTV is one of the greatest creative resources this community has, and I would absolutely encourage anyone with any interest in production to come here and learn from Dave and take their ideas and turn them into something. If I hadn't been here at BPTV, I wouldn't have advanced at the rate I did in my industry. I wouldn't have had the passion for my industry nurtured the way it was here. I don't think that I would have pursued it because I don't think I would have had as clear a picture of what was available to me in this industry unless I had come here and gotten that first-hand experience prior to having to make the decisions that you have to make whenever you're graduating from high school. Opportunity really only comes to people who establish a lifestyle to seize it. And this is the kind of place where you can seize an opportunity and change what you want your future to be.
Thanks for not switching that dial. Chief, hope you had a good dessert. Hope you enjoy the show, and all the rest of you. Thanks for all our fans that constantly run into me and tell me they enjoy the show and have watched it for years. Thanks again to all of you. We appreciate you. Now we got to talk a little Steelers. I don't know what it is, losing teams. Watch this game and it just drags on and on. There's some of the most boring first halves and second halves up until the last 3 seconds or so.
Well, you know, all year and for the last 2 years, all we've heard is that the Steelers could have potentially one of the most prolific offenses in the history of the NFL. We've heard that numerous times, and I will say this. Jim says this team has some warts. That is true, okay? This team does have flaws, but this is one thing that this team has done and is continuing to do. They just seem to find a way to win games that by all rights in years past they lose. You know, and I think what's going to happen now moving forward with the injuries that we've had to our defense with Hayden, now with Ryan Shazier, Matakevich is out, Steelers signed Sean Spence back.
Wow.
So, you know, they need help at inside linebacker. And I think what it's going to come down to the end of this season, if the Steelers are going to go deep in the playoffs, It's going to be the offense that's going to take them there. And I think the offense is finally getting to the point where they're now getting confident in each other's ability and where everybody's at. They know now that they can make the plays when the game's on the line. And
Do it a little sooner.
well, you know what? That's why they have a
It's a 60-minute game.
Here's
Come
what
on.
they have a 16-game regular season to prepare you to get ready to play in the playoffs. You don't want to peak too soon, and I think
not.
the Steelers are working their way into being in peak performance come the end of the year.
Well, I'm glad that 23-point performance gave you all the encouragement you need to overlook the warts. But
What are some of these words?
the warts are, for the last 4 or 5 years, Pittsburgh Steelers could not stop anybody in the passing game. Every time I see William Gay on the field, I cringe.
Hold it. Here's what I hear. Pass completed in front of Gay.
Yeah, there you go.
Every game.
And now the
And he
passing
hasn't missed the game. And he hasn't missed the game.
And in passing situations, now they got him at middle linebacker. Now that Shazier and Matakevich is injured. Now you're bringing back Sean Spence. The team neurologist is just probably pulling out his hair right now with
He's a bald man.
all the potential
bald.
injuries. Yeah,
He's bald.
I mean, your whole defense is built around Shazier, and I don't know if he'll play football again this season. He will play football again. I'm predicting that. You don't dress James Harrison, and so you're running around there. I already told you, one play a game to it was nowhere to be found. I've seen him get pushed all over the field last night. You have a rookie who did not even play in training camp.
Who?
Alo.
Huh? No, I'm talking
Fourth.
defensive back. I love Tyson, but you have a rookie defensive back, Sutton, who didn't play in training camp. He was hurt. He just come back healthy, but you bench number 24 because he's playing
Cody.
so poorly. Yeah, Cody
Sensabaugh.
Sensabaugh. You bench him and you put a rookie in at cornerback. Just shows you how thin you are at cornerback. I've always said, I always liked that Cautry, whatever he is, he's starting for the Giants. If you're weak in the secondary, why would you get rid of Cautry to bring in Sensabaugh and to bring in a Joe Hayden when you still got William Gay on the team? We still could have used Cautry. He had good size.
Gay plays every game. He
He
doesn't miss
does.
a game.
He sure does. I see the back of his
Pass
jersey every
completed
day.
in front of Gay.
Yeah, but anyhow, I think that the biggest thing is, don't forget. Lastly, I'll say this: I thought the Steelers had it all sewn up until I watched the Baltimore Ravens this past week, and I know you didn't watch any of the NFL football, Chip, but Baltimore looks really good. The Pittsburgh Steelers have the most shutouts in the NFL history for a season, the 76 Steelers with 5.
Yeah.
The 2000 Ravens is second with 4. This Raven team has 3 shutouts. They're playing lights-out defense. I think that physically, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh beat themselves up. The Ravens has 7 wins. The Steelers have 9. If the Ravens beat the Steelers in
Steelers
New
got 10.
England, 10? Well,
10-2.
I
And let me
couldn't
just
count.
back up
I
1
couldn't
second
count.
on Baltimore.
My counting is off.
Do you know who
Let me-
the lowest rated quarterback in the NFL is right now?
Flacco.
Wow.
Do you
Good.
know what he's done since the Super Bowl? Nothing.
He looked good this
Well, I
past
mean,
week.
other than cashing his paychecks.
Well, on the field, I'm
And
talking
I
about.
understand he's a real clothes horse too. He really follows all the styles.
Yeah. But, I mean, they got a problem there.
I'll tell you the story. We were at the Marriott one time when the Ravens were playing the Steelers on a Sunday, and Suggs was down in the bar, and Ozzie Newsome was down there following him because they wanted the Suggs to behave himself.
Wow.
And here comes Flacco walking across the lobby in this outfit. We all just busted up laughing.
Really?
It was hilarious. And Suggs just said, well, what can you say? I mean, he just has no fashion sense. But that all being said, there is no way that the Baltimore Ravens have a chance to even accomplish anything. The Ravens, like almost a third of their team is on the injured reserve list. They're doing it with smoke and mirrors. They're not gonna come here and beat the Steelers. Sunday night. That's just not going to happen.
Better
it's
snicker.
going to be a knockdown, drag out.
Better
AFC.
Snicker.
Okay, it's going to be a knockdown, drag out AFC North battle. And here's
You
what.
better eat the Snicker first.
Here's what, you can criticize the Steelers all you want. 10-2 speaks volumes because they've played 12 games and they've won 10 of them. This is the NFL. Any given Sunday, the Steelers have proven this once. They've proven it 100 times. You can lose to anybody on any given Sunday, and the Steelers are winning the games that they normally lose. I like what's going on with this team. I think it's a special team. I like the Steelers.
What would the Steelers have to do for you to actually watch them play?
Oh, you know what? How about not play a game at 8:30 at night? Okay? How about a 4 o'clock game? They're going to do it in a 1 o'clock game. You know what I mean? I got to get my beauty sleep, right? Okay? So, you start a game at 8:30. I'm already, my eyes are crossed, and I'm already half asleep. I'm sorry. I'm not staying up until midnight to watch anybody play football.
Yeah, the game ended right before midnight last night. So I stayed up for the whole thing.
You want to know? I mean, last Sunday after I got done work, I come home. I'm watching the Red Zone. Okay, so I'm going from this play to that play, and I'm like, okay, because I'm not really paying attention. It's just something on in the background. So, but yeah, I did have the Red Zone on, but I mean, it's just the NFL just is all this stuff that has nothing to do with what goes on in the field is the stuff that I'm getting sick of. I like the game on the field itself, but what's a catch? What's not a catch? Okay, we've had
How about
at
a
least
fumble? What's a fumble?
at least 5 times every weekend. Was it a catch? Wasn't it a catch? You have 15 people view it from 25 different angles, and you get 4 different.
I like the
know,
end
calls.
zone camera.
I like the guys Dean
The
Blandino
pylon
and who's the other
camera.
one?
I like that pylon camera showing things.
Perea. Neither one of those guys have gotten a call right in 2 years. I want their job. Okay? Because how can you be wrong so many times and still get paid? You tell me. But
They're consistent.
those are the things. But I think this, we're getting down the last couple and a half minutes here. Okay, Steelers 10-2, Ravens week. It's going to be what do they call it? A slobber knocker this weekend. But how about the Pittsburgh Penguins on a 4-game winning streak?
Yes.
Back to back. Finally, they beat the Buffalo Sabres. Friday and Saturday, Tristan Jarry is proving that he is a starting goaltender in the NHL, and it looks like he'll be an adequate backup to.
He's very
Murray.
athletic. It even looks back to like how Fleury is an athletic guy, and Jarry was very athletic.
And I understand Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be able to begin practicing for the first time in 2 months because he's been out with a concussion.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Which I'm sorry to hear that from Marc-Andre, but that was one of the risks with keeping him on your roster is that he's had a lot of concussions and he's more susceptible to them now. Yeah. He and Chris Letang both. Those are 2 people that I worry about. Like, is the next concussion, is that going to be the one that scrambles their brains?
It could be.
But we got tonight the Penguins and the Rangers. Okay, so. They're going on right now. I'm sure Devin will shoot me an update with a score.
Where is that?
Because we haven't gotten one yet, and I'm not looking up my phone. It's a minute left, but
we're just
can't forget about the Penguins. I think they're finally starting to get it together.
Repeat.
I still expect a trade coming soon. Ian Cole is supposed to be on the chopping block.
He may not be. They need him. We'll see.
They also need a third-line center that can score.
That's true. They have a lot of holes. They got a lot of new players. They're trying to get that to work out. Sullivan's the guy that can do it. He makes them mesh very well. I like him as a coach. I like how he calls out the players when they don't produce and play the game the right way. He's very consistent on that, so that helps. Give him some leadership. We shall see what happens. Smoking Jim, anything else happen?
Everybody in Bethel Park loves the Gateway Gators. Good luck, Gateway.
I got to disagree with that. They don't even know where Gateway is. They hear they still recruit out there, but they don't know what they do.
So Pitt's winning 31-24. Penguins and the Rangers, 0-0. 8 minutes left in the first period. There you go.
I got to get home and watch some Penguins.
Me too.
Get out of here. You're going to New.
You're going to watch Pitt.
He's going to New Ken. Get out of here. Well, thank you for watching another show. We got a little loose here at the end, but we appreciate all of you, and thanks for watching Pittsburgh Sportsline. Stay Joey strong.